All right, and we are back. This is Ekayani Chamberlin, your health and lifestyle coach, coming at you from Greenbrook, Brooklyn. And it is spring, at least ostensibly it's spring, and this is a time where there's more daylight and we get to spend a little bit more time outdoors. So I wanted to take the time to address the issue of vitamin D again, because I was speaking to someone today who was struggling with diabetes and obesity, and who has darker skin. And it reminded me of a clinical study that was published back in, let's see now, the name of the study is Vitamin D Deficiency Common in U.S. Children. And how I just wanted to sort of address how this actually parlays into adulthood. This is the first generation of children now that are not expected to outlive their parents. And I talk about this a lot. But this is a link. There was like a stream of consciousness link between this adult person and the things that are outlined in this particular study. Because the fact of the matter is that they are related. So if you're vitamin D deficient, it's likely that you are going to develop diabetes, that you're going to develop cardiovascular disease, that you are likely to become obese, because vitamin D is something that is really required by the body to regulate hormonal function and so many things, you know, from bone health and so many different things. So I just wanted to read this really quickly. Again, it's entitled Vitamin D Deficiency Common in U.S. Children. This is courtesy of the Weekly Essentials of Health by USANA Health Sciences, and it was published on March 4th. It's also on my blog, thelivingconnection.blogspot.com. At a glance, research indicates that the prevalence of vitamin D insufficiency among children in the United States is higher than previously thought. Although several small studies have found a high prevalence of vitamin D deficiency in specific populations of children, this study is the first to examine the issue nationwide. A study in the Journal of Pediatrics reveals a troublesome prevalence of low levels of vitamin D among children in the United States. Researchers evaluated data from over 6,000 children aged 1 to 21 who participated in the National Nutrition Examination Survey between 2001 and 2004. Insufficient levels of vitamin D were defined as 15 to 29 nanograms per milliliter of blood, and deficient levels of less than 15 nanograms per milliliter. So there were two things that were being examined here, insufficient and deficient. Over 60% of the children studied had vitamin D levels defined as insufficient. Outright deficiency occurred in 9% of the subjects. If applied to the U.S. population, these percentages would be equivalent to nearly 51 million children with insufficient vitamin D levels and 7.6 million children with vitamin D deficiency. Participants who consumed at least 400 IUs or international units per day were less likely to experience a deficiency, but just 4% of the children used vitamin D supplements. In addition to its consequences regarding bone health, vitamin D deficiency can potentially increase the risk of future heart disease and other health conditions. The researchers concluded that physicians should be screening children for vitamin D levels, especially in populations that are considered high risk. And this study was done by Kumar J. Prevalence and Associates of 25-hydroxyzine vitamin D deficiency in U.S. children, and Haynes 2001-2004 Pediatrics, and this was actually published in September of 2009. So my goodness, more time has passed since this study has gone. We're now in 2015. So I just wanted to point out a few maybe obvious things, but sometimes you see things over and over again and it doesn't really register. When I was a kid, we played outside. We didn't spend hours and hours inside playing video games in the dark. That's really important, to get your kids outside. At least a half an hour of sun. They should be exposed to sun on their face, on their arms, on their legs for half an hour with no sunscreen, because the sunscreen actually blocks the body's ability to produce vitamin D. Sun activates vitamin D production in the body. After that time, depending on the sensitivity of your child to sun, sure, put on sunblock if you need to. But usually between the hours of 8 a.m. and 11 a.m., that's when the sun is its least strong, at least here in North America. So that's an ideal time to do that. The other thing, well, I think I pretty much covered it. So video games. Oh, also, not many kids have recess anymore. At least I can say here in New York City, recess has practically become a thing of the past. It's been cut out of a lot of programs. Your child needs to get outside and play. It's a really, really important part of their development. But most children, of course, because they're following our lifestyle, they get up before it's dark. They get on the school bus, so they get on transportation and travel to school when it's dark. They spend the entire day inside, sometimes in a darkened classroom, staring at more computer screens or video screens. Then they leave, and unless it's summer, it's probably dark, and then they go home and it's dark. So there's virtually no opportunity for a child to get adequate vitamin D stimulation from being outside, because the fact of the matter is that really no one spends any time outside anymore. So I just wanted to point that out. Again, this stream of thought came up today because I was speaking to an adult who is struggling with diabetes and is struggling with obesity. And vitamin D deficiency and obesity, cardiovascular disease, depression, all these things are linked together. The other thing is that if a mother is carrying a child, but she's also deficient in vitamin D, she's not going to be able to pass on those nutrients in utero to the baby, to the embryo. And that may result in a child having, wheezing, respiratory problems, digestive problems just as an infant. So vitamin D is extremely important. If you want to know more about that, then I encourage you to go to my blog, livingconnection.blogspot.com, where I have got a ton of articles on vitamin D. Now, what was I doing? I'm opening up this iPad because I went on a retreat to the yoga farm again last weekend. That's why you haven't really heard from me. It was wonderful. We were outside. We spent a lot of time outside, and the only slaughter-free dairy farm in the United States, and it was wonderful because we participated in activities like preparing the seed beds for spring planting, eggplant, tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, all those good things. We spent time obviously doing some yoga, but also just spending time with the cows and learning about sustainability. And so today I wanted to put the spotlight on Jessica W. from the South Bronx, who had a wonderful time, but I'm going to speak to her in her own words. And I just wanted to put the spotlight on it because I want to encourage you all to come down and visit the farm sometime. Okay, Jessica W. says, "For me, the Gitanagari farm is a model to follow. The people that live and work the farm are nurturing and hospitable. The animals are friendly and happy. The landscape is magical, fresh, and open for exploration. Everything from the food to planting seeds and sharing conversation with one another is done with compassion and humility. My favorite part was the cow sanctuary." Where else in America could you find that? You guessed it. Here at the Gitanagari farm. The visit opened a channel to many possibilities and opportunities for me. I learned that nothing is impossible as long as you do it with love. The Gitanagari farm needs you to continue its legacy and share its harvest. Let's cultivate more stories and experience together with their happy cows. So Jessica, I really want to thank you for that. I wish you all the best in your endeavors as you empower yourself and your community about learning about farming, urban farming, sustainability, real food, whole food, and what makes us and children and adults and animals happy and healthy. So everyone, that's it for this week. Next week is Easter and Passover. I'm wishing you a happy holiday, whatever it is that you're doing, and I'll see you the next time. Bye-bye now. It's Ekayani.